I said I'm not even sure who he was talking to.
Sports Time Machine. We're going inside the computer game tonight, and hopefully everything will work the way we want it to. I just didn't feel like hooking up the cards and dice tonight, so hopefully you guys won't mind the intervention of games. We're going to play the 1975 Cincinnati Reds taking on the 1968 Detroit Tigers, and this is going to be game one using the number 4 starters. So the starters of this series will be 4, 1, and 2 for this series. So let's go ahead and kind of go over what's been happening so far so what you'll have going on in this series. Let's see. Let's see if I can look this up here. Let's see. Give me 1 second. See if I can pull this up here. And I don't think I can. I know it's here somewhere. But let's go over the lineup so we have them tonight. So the lineup tonight will be for the visiting 1975 Cincinnati Reds. And let's get back to that screen. So Pete Rose will lead off. He's at third. Joe Morgan batting second in second. Ken Griffey batting third in right. Johnny Bench, the catcher, batting fourth behind the plate. Batting fifth, George Foster. He's in left. Batting sixth is Tony Perez. He's at first. Batting seventh is Dan Dreesen. He's your designated hitter. The game is in Detroit, so we have the designated hitter. Batting eighth, the shortstop, Dave Concepcion. And batting ninth is the center fielder, Cesar Geronimo. On the mound for the Cincinnati Reds, their number 4 starter, Don Gullet. The Reds do come with a record of 1 win and 2 losses. For the Detroit Tigers, 1968, they come with a record of 2-1. They defeated the 1978 Yankees 2-1. Their lineup is Dick McCullough leading off at second, Mickey Stanley batting second and center, Norm Cash batting third at first, Bill Freehan batting fourth behind the plate. Willie Horton's the designated hitter. He's batting fifth and designated hitter. Batting sixth, left fielder Jim Northrup. Batting seventh, the right fielder Al Kaline. Batting eighth is Don Wirt, the third baseman. And batting ninth, the shortstop Roy Euler. And on the mound for the Tigers, their number 4 starter, Joe Sparma. About ready for some baseball, and let's get to it here at the ballpark on Michigan and Trumbull. So Rose will lead off. He's hitting .364, 1 RBI on the season, hitting left-handed against Sparma. I'll be operating both teams like I would in cards and dice, so each team would have a fair advantage. Here's a pitch from Sparma, and Rose will hit a shot in the gap, left center field. Stanley will not get it. To the wall it goes. Rose will go to second with a stand-up double. So Pete Rose will stand on second with a double, and the Reds got a leadoff man on. Here's second baseman Joe Morgan. He's 1 for 9 with an RBI. Walks, left-handed hitter. MVP season for Joe. Freehan puts down the sign. Sparma from the stretch. Runner on second, nobody out. Pitch to Morgan. And this will be a walk to Sparma, and the Reds got 2 on and nobody out. So here is the right fielder, Ken Griffey. He's 2 for 9 on the year with an RBI. Griffey batting right-handed. Freehan putting down the sign. Left-righty matchup. Sparma looks in from the stretch. First and second, nobody out. Pitch to him. And that'll be a ground ball to second. McCullough should get this one. He'll field it, throws him out, and gets him for the double play. How about that? So McCullough goes to Euler to Cash, and the Tigers turn 2. So Rose will go to third with 2 outs, and now here's the catcher, Big John Bench. 167, 12 at bats, 1 RBI. Freehan puts down the sign. Sparma from the windup, runner on third and 2 out, pitch to Bench. And this ball will be base hit left field. Rose will score from third. RBI clutch hit for Bench, and the Reds lead it 1-0. Here is the left fielder, George Foster, hitting 182, 1 double on the season. Freehan put down the sign. Sparma from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Foster. And Foster ground ball to third. Work got it. Goes to McCullough for the force and ends the first. The Reds 1 run on 2 hits. They strand 1. We go to the bottom of the first. Cincinnati 1. And here come the Tigers. Hello, Al. Thank you for coming in tonight. I appreciate you as always. I was just watching the end of the Seattle ball. Feed tonight. And now matchup. It'll be McCullough leading off, then Stanley, then Cash against Gullet. Bench puts down the sign. Gullet looks at Gullet making its first start. Here's the pitch. And it's going to be a fly ball center field. Geronimo there makes the catch, and there's one away. Here is Mickey Stanley. He gets to start again in center field, not playing shortstop like he did in the World Series. He's 4 for 10. They beat the Yankees 2 out of 3, coming back with a very good offensive explosion in Game 3. Bench puts down the sign. Gullet for the windup. Here's the pitch to Stanley, and that's going to be a ground ball to short. Concepcion throws out the Perez, and there's 2 outs. From Cash. So Cash comes in hitting 231, 2 doubles. Cash, left-handed hitter with power. Bench puts down the target. Gullet looks in. Here's the pitch. Lefty-lefty matchup. Base hit, Norm Cash. So now here's the catcher, Bill Freehand. He is 6 for 12, 3 doubles and 2 RBIs, hitting a nifty 500. Bench puts down the sign. Gullet from the stretch. Runner on first and 2 outs. Here's the pitch to Freehand. And that's a fly ball left field. Foster there coming in. Makes the first inning is over. At the end of 1, Reds 1, Tigers nothing. We go to the top of the second inning here in Mike Terranova. I sometimes don't play this. I get too much on the Wi-Fi signal here, and sometimes it's better when I don't share screens. Hopefully, we're not having any problems connection. Here's Tony Perez. He's 3 for 10, hitting 300 with an RBI. Sparma looks in. Freehand puts down the sign. Here's the pitch, and it's going to be a base hit for Tony Perez. So Reds have their 3rd hit of the ball game, and now here is the designated hitter. A nice one to have, Mr. Dan Dreesen. He's looking for his first official at bat. He's had a couple walks and some pinch hittings. Freehand puts down the sign. Sparma from the stretch. Cheers the pitch. And that's give a ground ball to first. Cash will turn. Go to Euler. Back to Cash. 3-6-3. So 2 innings and 2 double plays for the Tigers. Here's the shortstop, Dave Concepcion, hitting 273. Freehand puts down the sign. Sparma with the windup. Here's the pitch to Concepcion. And that's a fly ball center field. Stanley's there. Should make this catch. He's a 1-0. And the Reds are done in the second. Let's go to the bottom of the second. Reds 1, Tigers nothing. So bottom 2 here in Motown. Absolutely destroys left-handed pitching. Northrop and K-Line. So Horton 182 on the year. No extra base hits. Gullet's going to have to be extremely careful. Bench puts down the target. Gullet with the windup. Here's the pitch to Horton. And that ball struck him out in the middle of his power column. So Gullet threw the changeup, and it got past Horton. So now here's Jim Northrop. More of a better hitter against right-handed pitching, but he has enough against lefties to survive. Bench puts down the sign. Gullet looks to him. Lefty-lefty matchup. Here's the pitch to Northrop. And that will be a fly ball right field. Griffey's there, makes the catch, and there's 2 away. So now here is the right fielder, Mr. Al Kaline. Boy, is he having a year so far. 12 at-bats, 3 doubles, 2 RBIs, hitting a solid .583. Bench puts down the sign. Gullet looks in, gets the sign. Here it is. Here's a fastball by Gullet. And that's a line drive to Concepcion, makes the catch, and the second inning is over. We played 2 in Motown. Reds 1, Tigers nothing. This has been a really good week so far. A lot of parity. A lot of teams at 2-2. But a Tiger win. Bizarre Geronimo hitting 182, 11 at bats, 1 RBI. Left-handed hitter against Joe Sparma, the right-handed pitcher. Freehand looks in, gets the sign. Sparma with the big windup. And that will be a fly ball right field. K-line there makes the catch, and there's one away. Here is the third baseman, Pete Rose. Doubled and scored his first time up. Freehand puts down the sign. Sparma looks in. Here's the big windup and pitch to Rose. And that's a ground ball to second. McCullough's got in his glove. He looks, pumps, throws. The first gets the second out. So 2 outs, and here's the second baseman, little Joe Morgan. Morgan walked his first time up. Freehand puts down the sign. Sparma looks in. Big windup from Sparma to Morgan. And that's a ground ball to second. McCullough's got it. Goes the cash. And the third inning is over. Quick game going here. Bottom of the third. Cincinnati 1, Tigers nothing. Cincinnati 1-3-0. Tigers 0-1-0. Bottom third coming up here in on the corner of Michigan, and announcers here. We have the Marty Brennemans and this game. So Euler and McCullough. Euler is sitting 142 with an RBI. Bench puts down the sign. Gullet looks in. Here's the windup to work. And that's a pop up to short. Concepcion, wait for it to come down. Makes the catch, and there's one away. Here's Roy Euler. Euler hitting 111, 9 at bats. Not much of a hitter. Bench puts down the sign. Gullet looks in. Here's the windup to Euler. And that's going to be a fly ball left field. Foster there, waits, makes the catch, and there's 2 away. We now go back to the top of the lineup for Dick McCullough. He's 0-for-1 with the fly out so far. Tigers only 1 hit in the ball game. Bench puts down the sign. Gullet looks in. Here's the windup to McCullough, and that's going to be a ground ball to third. Rose has got it. Let's see if he's get it. Throws over the side and gets it. Nice play for Rose. We played 3 here on the corner of Michigan and Trumbull. Reds 1, Tigers nothing in a classic 3-game series. The next 2 games ought to be good, as Denny McLean will take the mound. He'll take on Gary Nolan. I believe then you'll have Jack Billingham taking on Mickey Wolich. So great 3-game matchup. Of course, you have the Yankees and Red Sox playing in a 3-game series. And that started off strong for the Yanks, coming off of disappointing 2 out of 3 loss to the Tigers. So again, everyone is kind of getting bunched up like a horse race. Top of the fourth here in Motown. Reds 1-3-0. Tigers 0-1-0. Freehand puts down the sign. Sparma looks in. Here's the windup to Griffey. And that will be a grab on a second. McCullough's got a couple of those so far. He gets it away. So 1 away. Here is the catcher, Mr. Johnny Bench. RBI base of his first time up. Again, clutch RBI from Johnny. Freehand puts down the sign. Sparma looks in. Here's the wind up the bench. And that's all 6s. Fly ball right field. K-line is there. Makes the catch. I hope. 1-7. Makes the catch. And there's 2 away. So 2 outs in the fourth. There's the left fielder, George Foster. Freehand puts down the sign. Sparma looks in, gets the sign. Here's the pitch to big George Foster. And that is a line drive, the deep left field. Back goes Northrop, back, reaches, makes the catch as he hit the track. Oh, what a catch for big Jim Northrop. He just robbed Foster of extra bases, as it is 3 up, 3 down for the Big Red Machine. We go to the bottom of the fourth here on the corner of Michigan and Trumbull. It is now Reds 1 and your Detroit Tigers nothing. 33,000 here at the stadium. Not a large crowd for this Tiger game, as this is their second straight series playing at home. Last of the fourth, Tigers will now come up with Stanley, Cash, and Freehand. The hit against Gullet here in the fourth. Bench down the sign. Gullet looks in with a big windup. Here's the pitch to Stanley. And that's a pop to short. Concepcion calls everyone off. Catch is made, and there's 1 away. Here's the first baseman, Norm Cash. So Cash on the game had a base hit his first time up, the only Tiger base hit. Gullet now has to work the Cash. Cash still with power against lefties. Bench puts down the sign. Gullet looks in. Big windup from Don Gullet and the pitch. That'll be a ground ball to short. Concepcion really busy. They throws over to Perez, and there's 2 outs. Back in the day, you knew the Reds were just a great team. Up the middle ones with Concepcion, Morgan, and Geronimo. threes on the corners with Perez and Rose, and you had Foster and Griffey. Such a great team, great defense, and solid enough pitching staff that got you through. But this offense got on fire. They were just a tough team to beat. And they're gonna be proved. They're 1-2 so far. But again, this is a 66 game season. Last of the fourth for the Tigers. Freehand, Horton, Northrop against Gullet. Bench puts down the sign. Gullet looks in. A big wind up to Bill Freehand. And that's a line drive in the gap for a base hit. That'll go all the way to the wall. Freehand will go around first. He'll go around the second. He'll stop there. And the Tigers have a 2-out double for Bill Freehand. Now that I am running the show here for both teams, and Willie Horton probably has at least over 1,100 OPS versus lefties, I would guess, by looking at his card. And he got a lefty, Northrop. We're giving him the old 4 fingers intentional walk. So sorry, Willie. Willie will not hear a who today. He'll go to first with 2 outs, and here Northrop. So Northrop, first and second, 2 outs. Bench puts down the sign. Gullet working out from the stretch. This is a big pitch, and see if Anderson's logic worked. Here's a pitch to Northrop, and he does. He struck him out to end the inning. So the intentional walk worked. No runs, a hit, a walk. We played 4 here in Detroit. Reds 1, Tigers nothing as we head to the 5th. Top of the 5th here on the corner of Hispanic super teams here in this league. We're actually in week 2. This is going to be stars. So we have 4 man rotations. These are the 4s. It'll be 4, 1, and 2 working in this series for these teams. So McLean Lolich will go against the Reds in the next 2. So Perez up. He's 1 for 1 with the single. 1-3-0, 0-2-0 for the Tigers. Freehand puts down the sign. Sparma looks in. Here's the pitch to Perez. And line drive at McAuliffe. Almost took his head off, but he put the glove up and made a great catch. 1 out in the 5th. And here's Dan Dreesen. Dreesen ground out into a double play his first time up. Freehand puts down the sign. Joe Sparma looking pretty good out there. Here's the pitch to Dreesen. And that's a catch X popped up behind the plate. Freehand should get it. Goes over and gets it. Actually, he picked it off the ground on a dribbler and throws that strike the cash for the 2nd out. Here's a shortstop, Dave Concepcion. So Concepcion, again, one of the greatest Venezuela shortstops of all time. Is he better than Jose Altuve? Personally, he's a lot more honest than Altuve is. Top of the 5th, 2 outs. Concepcion 0 for 1. Freehand puts down the sign. Joe Sparma with the windup. Here's the pitch. And that's going to fly ball right field. K-line there makes the catch. And folks, we go to the bottom 5th inning. We have a pitcher's duel. It's official here in Detroit. 1-0 Reds. So K-line, Wirt, and Euler will bat for the Tigers here in the 5th. Again, both teams struggling to make contact early. A pitcher's duel. Gullet's card isn't that good, to be honest. Speaking as a Strat representative, but you're speaking as a broadcaster. Gullet's been I guess he's been pitching away from the hitters here, not putting in the good stuff. So we'll see if that goes into the 5th. K-line, right matchup against Gullet. And bench looks in. Gullet with the wind up, and here's the pitch to K-line, and that will be a walk to K-line. So the Tigers put the leadoff man on. So Don Wirt, the batter. Now, does Don Wirt have a Red Sox fan sacrifice in his body? Let's see if he does. He looks over at his third base coach, and he tells him yes, he does. So we'll go ahead because the game is close. Go ahead and lay down a bunt, young man, even though they do have a really bad Roy Euler on deck. So here is the pitch to Wirt. He lays it down. It's a perfect one. Picks it up and throws. And Wirt doesn't lay it down. So Gullet gets it and gets the force to Concepcion. So Wirt doesn't do his job. And a bad sacrifice. Ooh, bad job by Wirt. So now here's Euler with 1 out. So great play by Gullet to get the force at second. Bench puts down the sign now. Gullet working from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Euler. And Euler draws one of those walks on his car. Now Gullet has to really feel really bad about that one. He lost a bad guy. Now he brings up the meat of this Tiger order, the top of it, first and second, and one out. And Gullet trying to work through this fifth inning. Bench puts down the sign. Gullet working from the stretch. Here's the pitch to McAuliffe, who's 0 for 2 today, and he hits a long drive. Just gets it past Kinder Morgan. That ball literally has eyes. Ward had to wait to make sure it went through. He'll come around the third, stay right there, and the Tigers have the bases loaded and one out. Here come the Tigers. So now here's the center fielder, Mickey Stanley. So Mickey comes in, loves to hit left-handed pitch. This is a spot for Mickey right now. Don Gullet loves the pitch to righty. Something's going to have to give here. One out. Gullet can use one of his double plays. The infield will play corners in. Perez and Rose in at the corners. Concepcion Morgan, the classic infield comparably to the Lopes Russells of the 70s, will play back for that double play, trying to get it. Bench puts down the sign. Gullet, Bench is controlling this team right now. Gullet from the stretch. Bases loaded, one out, 1-0 ball game. Pitch to Stanley. Ground ball to short. Concepcion, Morgan, Perez, and there it is. 6-4-3. Pitcher's best friend. And the Tigers don't score in the fifth. Let's head to the sixth. 1-0 Reds. Holy cow. Double play ball. Yeah, so it's only 11 here, but it's 1 a.m. for my Eastern people out there. Happy Easter for those out there. Top of the sixth action. Reds 1-3-0. Tigers 0-3. The Reds have hit, I believe now, or the Tigers just hitting the one. Double play balls, 2 for the Tigers, 1 for the Reds. And so far, we played 5. So how we stand so far: the Reds 1-3-0, Tigers 0-3-0. Gullet 5 innings and 3 hits, 3 walks and 2 strikeouts, while Sparma 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 run it's earned, and a walk. We go to the top of the 6th inning. So here we go. Geronimo followed by Rose and Morgan. Freehand puts down the sign. Sparma looks in. Here's the pitch. And that will be a strikeout for Geronimo. So Sparma with the big strikeout in the 6th. And now here's Pete Rose. 1 for 2, a double and a run scored. Scored the only run in the ball game. Rose batting from the left-hand side. Freehand puts down the sign. Sparma with the windup and the pitch. And that's a fly ball right field. K-Line doesn't have to move. Makes the catch, and we got 2 outs. And now here's the second baseman, little Joe Morgan, comes in, pumps the wrist, pumps the arm, stands in there from the left hand batter's box. MVP in the 1975 season. Freehand puts down the sign. Sparma looks in with the windup and the pitch to Morgan, and that's a ground ball to second. McAuliffe's got it. Does he have it? Throws him out and does. Great play from McAuliffe, and the Reds are down 1-2-3. Let's go to bottom of the 6th inning. It's 1-0 Cincinnati. I don't mean WKRP either. Reds lead 1-0. 1-3-0 for Cincinnati. 0-3-0 for the Tigers. So now be Cash, Freehand, and Horton against Gullet here in the 6th. Against Sparky Anderson on the top step, looking at Willie Horton, saying, "You're not going to beat me, dude." So Bench puts down the sign. Gullet, left-hander to left-hander matchup. Here's the pitch. And line drive. Perez lifts the glove up. Holy cow, what a catch. Perez looked back at the glove, make sure he had it. He had a streamer down the line and made a fantastic catch. Now here's Freehand. Horton's on deck. Now that question will be, if Horton comes up with nobody on, you give him a bomb, the Barry Bonds type intentional walk again to get the lefty. Now I try not to make any offensive changes until about the 7th inning, as these should be set lineups, and most managers wouldn't make an early change like this. Bench puts down the sign. Gullet looks in. Here's the pitch to Freehand, and that's going to be a base hit left field. Now it does. If the David Cone adage is there's never a such thing as no open base, as even if runners at first and third, you have a base you can give somebody, you go ahead and do it. Just because there's not a runner at second and third or a first base open, you still would walk somebody if you're that fearful of this to happen. To me, Willie Horton has that type of card. Bombs on 3, 4, 5, 6. 8 and has a 20%er on a 7. So 4 automatics pretty much, and 1 that's a 20%er just on that 3 column alone. And of course, he can hit Gullet's card too with a 35 and a 50%er. So yeah, this is where you have to make a decision here. Or does Sparky go out and get Gullet, who's known to be Captain Hook here, 5 1/3 innings in a key game the Reds want to win? So here comes the Cincinnati pitching coach. He'll come out and talk to him a little bit as we'll look at our bullpen and see what might be available or what heavy are we have that might be able to. Problem is most of the Reds are reverse right-handers, so they're more effective versus lefties. So that would be a problem for this team. So what do you do if you were Sparky Anderson? So 1 out in the 6th. Gullet looks like he's going to pitch to Willie Horton unless he gives him the IMT right now. So Bench puts down the sign. Gullet from the stretch. Here's the big pitch of the ball game. And that, folks, is deep to left center field. Back goes Foster. It's gone. Foster leaps and brings it back in for a great catch. Holy cow. Home run won the 4. He got the 5. As Don Gullet takes a big breath on that mound and gives a nice bow to George Foster. Brings it back in. So now here's Northrop. Holy cow, a defensive gem here in the 6th inning. Bench puts down the sign. Gullet from the stretch. Freehand takes the lead, but Perez is going to let him steal, I think. I was like, they're not holding him on. Here's the pitch. Lefty matchup. And that's a ground ball to short. Concepcion the Morgan makes the play in the fielder's choice. 6 innings of play, and we got some drama here on the corner of Michigan and Trumbull. Reds 1, Tigers nothing as we head to the 7th inning here. Stratomatic Super League, game 1 of a 3-game series. So in the 7th, Reds 1 run, 3 hits, and no errors. Tigers no runs on 4 hits. Griffey bench Foster against Sparma. Sparma's inning of fatigue is it a 6? It's a 5. Actually, he reached it last inning, so this would be his last inning before he becomes automatic fatigued in the 8th. So that's something to consider. So we'll see what the Tigers will do. Freehand puts down the sign. Sparma looks in. Here's the pitch to Ken Griffey. And that's a ground ball back to Sparma. He's a 5-16. We close our eyes, throws, and no. Sparma cannot make the play. Holy cow. So that's an rating there. I didn't realize Sparma was a 5 out there. So he's a 5-16. So runner on first and nobody out. So that was definitely poorly played. Now Griffey can run a little bit. And if you look at it right now, it's an even first number for Griffey because +4 for Sparma, -2 Freehand, -2 to hold. So Griffey's going to try to get a jump. So let's see if he does here. Again, the manager of the Tigers, I think Mayo Smith, I believe it was, is up on the apron, 1-9 run. So Griffey does not get the lead. Sparma able to keep him close. Freehand threw one in back of him. Just to keep him honest, as they say. Runner on 7th, no out. Bench an RBI base hit his first time up. Now does Mayo Smith come out and do something here? 7th inning, Tigers bullpen's okay. Don McMahon's been used. No, he hasn't, surprisingly. I thought I've used him a few times. Don McMahon, a classic 6R. John White, I believe a former Red Sox, I think, is a 7R. So a lot of these Tigers have heavy R ratings. And also, you don't want to use Wyatt, probably. He's a +9. That would definitely not help things. Fred Lasher, again, could be used. So let's see what the Tigers will do. They have the one lefty they say is already tired and cannot come in. So that's not good. We'll have to kind of monitor that a little bit. So Don McMahon will probably come in for the Tigers here. 7th inning and no out. He'll come get him. So new pitcher for the Detroit Tigers is Don McMahon. So Don comes in. Good, very good card. It's righties. He'll face right anyway. This is a spot you want him in. Freehand puts down the sign. McMahon from the stretch. Here's the pitch to bench. And that's a walk to bench. And all of a sudden, the Reds got 2 on and nobody out. Something McMahon did not want to do there. So now here's the left fielder, Mr. George Foster. So Foster, 2 on, nobody out. 1-0 Cincinnati here. So Freehand puts down the sign. McMahon working from the stretch, trying to get his buddy Joe Sparma out of this. Griffey is responsible to Joe Sparma's earned run right now. So here's McMahon trying to get the inherited run off the bases. Here's the pitch to Foster. And that'll be a base hit to center field. That could score the run. It's a 1-16 coming home. We're going to try to send him. Score is not in time. 2-0 Cincinnati. So Cincinnati gets the run. And the Reds get an extra one here in the 7th, and that run will be charged to Joe Sparma. 2-0 Reds. So here's Perez, first and third, nobody out. Tigers have to play the infield in. They have to stop these cuts, as they say, and put some band-aids on before a big gusher hits. Freehand puts down the sign. McMahon working from the stretch. First and third, nobody out. Pitch to him. And that's going to be a ground ball to first. It's Cash. Let's see if he makes the play on us, where he goes with this. He kicks the play at first. Foster moves to second, and there's one away. So now here's a tough left-handed hitter in Dan Dreesen. The only lefty available for the Tiger bullpen is John Hiller, and they say he's tired from the previous outing. So, and they got John Warden, who can probably come in. He could probably give a little more. So let's who's on that? Concepcion and then Geronimo. Let's bring in John Warden here. So Warden will come in. So Warden will be the new Tiger pitch. Oh, goodness gracious. Can I call that back? Am I able to call that back? Sure, why not? It's my game. So we'll go ahead and undo that. We'll tell Mr. Warden that he didn't pass his physical. So McMahon comes back out. First and third. Oh, I just Dreesen back up again. Sorry, folks. Hang on one second. I'm going to have to do something weird here. I'm going to have to go manual entry so I get my result back and get it back and play. So let's do manual entry here. So Tony Perez hit a ground ball. So Perez is out at first. Foster will move the second. Bench stays at by the first baseman. So that should get runners second and third and one out. Nobody home. Yep, that's it. So now we go to Dreesen. It's going to have to McMahon here. Oh, McMahon against lefties isn't good either, but that Warden card was absolutely horrific. So can't do that. So Freehand puts down the sign, so they don't do that. Infield will stay in. Freehand from the stretch, and looks like I'm on the dice mode still. Let's click. Let's click. So sorry about the hiccup, folks. Hopefully we'll stay with you here. One second. So here we go. Back to dice mode. Back to Mr. McMahon. Let's see if McMahon can pull a Karnak here. It's 2-0 the Reds here in the 7th. And here's the pitch. And that's going to be a ground ball to short. Euler is good. Goes through. Brings in the infield. 2 will score. And Dan Dreesen has a base hit up the middle. So the Reds now lead at 4-0 here in the 7th as Dreesen gets a base hit over the drawn in infield. Here's Concepcion right now. Freehand puts down the sign. McMahon working from the stretch. Pitch to Concepcion. And that's a line drive in the gap. Stanley going in. It's going to be a trap. And Dreesen will go all the way to third. Will stay right there. It's a double. Oh, my goodness. A double on a 1-4, and Concepcion got it. So 1-4 double. And the Reds keep the inning continued. So here's Cesar Geronimo, the infield in for the Tigers, as the fans are getting restless here for their 2-1 Tigers. Freehand puts down the sign. McMahon from the stretch. Here's a pitch to Geronimo. And that's going to be a base hit up the middle. Dreesen scores. Concept scores. This will make it a 6-0 ball game favor of the Reds. Not can end Don McMahon's day as he could fatigue out right now. We'll see what happens here. I'm still waiting for the system to catch up with it. Base hit for Geronimo knocks in 2. And it's 6-0. It is 6-0 Reds. So here's Rose. Boy, this imploded in a hurry on this Tiger bullpen. Freehand puts down the sign. McMahon looks in and the pitch. And that's going to be a fly ball right field, a dead roll, thankfully, in Pete Rose's column. K-line with the catch, and there's 2 away. So here's little Joe Morgan. He'll come up with a runner on first and 2 outs. Reds blowing this open in the top of the 7th inning. Freehand putting down the sign. McMahon from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Morgan. And that's going to be a gap shot in the middle. Stanley will not get it bounced. And it is now 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs. And now here's Griffey. He led off this inning. The Reds have now batted around with 2 outs. And that has to be all for him. Wondering why I'm keeping SOM, but I don't think this Tiger bullpen. I'm going to go ahead and bring probably Pat Dobson. Trying to cut off the bleeding here. So Pat Dobson comes in 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs. Freehand puts down the sign. Dobson in the game, working from the stretch. Does he keep it from getting worse? Ground ball. Shorts Euler. He got it. It's finally over. Reds score 5 in the 7th. We go to the bottom of 7th. It's a 7th inning unhappy stretch for the Tigers. It's 6-0 Reds. So a big inning so far. Bottom of the 7th here. Please, guys, if you're here, please like, please subscribe. I love to get to that 300 subscribers at some point. Keep working my way up here in the old YouTube if you can. 6-0 Reds. It'll be K-line work and Euler against probably for Don Gullet. He'll stay out there. I believe he's a 6. He might be a 7. So let's look at Gullet right now. He is a 7. So he could technically finish this game. Bench puts down the sign. Gullet with the windup. Here's the pitch to K-line. Tigers no line drive. That Rose makes the catch. So 1 away here in the 7th. Here is Don Wirt. Gullet looks in, gets the sign from bench. Here's the pitch to Wirt. And that is going to be a struck him out 2 away. And I think the Tigers are going to make a change here now in the 7th. Probably see Dick Trzaskowski. Better hitter against left-handed pitching. Might as well bring him in here and see if he can do something different. So Trzaskowski will bat. Bench puts down the sign. Gullet looks in. Here's the windup to Trzaskowski. And that just struck him out inside corner. And that will end the inning. We played 7. The Reds have put the Tiger away with a chain and a chair. It's 6-0 Cincinnati. So the Tigers, not much of a roar here tonight. Top of the 8th. Reds now will come back with 6-8-0 for the Reds, 0-4-1 for the Tigers. Freehand puts down the sign. Pat Dobson stays in 8th inning. Here's the pitch to bench. And that's going to be a ground ball to short. Trzaskowski in for the first time. Ball finds him typically. Throws him out 1 away. Good play there by Trzaskowski. Here's Foster, 1 for 3 with an RBI. Back in that 7th inning horror show, Tigers gave up 5. Freehand puts down the sign. Dobson looks in. Here's the big windup to Foster. And that's a struck him out. Big strikeout, 2 outs here in the 8th. They're wondering why Mayo Smith didn't put Dobson in instead of McMahon. Perez up here, 2 outs in the 8th. Freehand puts down the sign. Dobson looks in. Here's the pitch to Perez. And that's a ground ball to short. 3 up, 3 down, go to Reds. Let's go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Let's see if the Tigers got a little roar left. It's still 6-0 Cincinnati. 6-8-0 for the Reds. 0-4-1 for the Tigers. So it'll be McAuliffe, Stanley, and Cash against Don Gullet. So again, this would be, he can technically go to the 9th. Bench puts down the sign. Gullet stays in. Here's the pitch to McAuliffe. And that's a line drive. That's trouble. Right center field. Way back. Geronimo looks up and that ball on. Dick McAuliffe puts the Tigers on the board. who let the Tiger out? So McAuliffe rounds third, gives a high five to Mickey Stanley, and the Tigers now it's 6-1. So now Sparky Anderson, yes, he's seen enough, but the right-handed hitter left and a specialist right out there. So here comes Sparky Anderson. I believe it's time for the hook. So Sparky will come out, bring the hook with him, and he'll have to bring in probably the guy who's going to be most trusted. He'll probably be bringing Clay Carroll. So Clay Carroll will come in the game. So Gullet goes 7+. So here is Mickey Stanley. He's 0 for 3. Clay Carroll so far then looks like 1 game, 1 inning, nothing across. Bench puts down the sign. Carroll with the windup. Here's a pitch to Stanley, and that is a ground ball to short. Concepcion's got it. Gets up and throws him out for the out, 1 away. For 3. Still got that awesome power against lefties or righties. Bench puts down the sign. Carroll looks in with the big windup. Pitch to Cash. And Cash hits a drive to deep left center. He went oppo. Foster back, makes the catch at the track, 2 away. Only a 10% chance at a home run there. So not much going. 2 outs in the 8th. And here's the catcher, Bill Freehand. So Freehand 2 for 3 of the double. Great year, 15 at-bats and 4 doubles and 2 RBIs so far. Bench puts down the sign. Carroll with the big windup and pitch to Bill Freehand. And that's a fly ball center field. Geronimo there makes the catch, and that's it for the Tigers. They get a run on a home run by Dick McAuliffe. What's head to the 9th? Red 6, Tigers 1. Top of the 9th here at the corner of Michigan and Trumbull as we play the Stratamatic Super Teams Game 1. Concepcion Geronimo to bat. Freehand puts down the sign. Dobson with the pitch. That's a fly ball to center. Stanley there comes in, makes the catch, and there's 1 away. Maybe he's 1-0. That's automatic. 1 away. So 1 out in the 9th. Here's Concepcion. 1 for 3 of the double. That was back in that 7th inning. Freehand puts down the sign. Dobson with a big windup and deals Concepcion. Popped up, I believe, behind the plate. Freehand's a 1-8. Makes the catch, and that's 2 away. So 2 away as Freehand throws the mask out. He puts it back on. Gets behind home plate, and we're back to Geronimo. 1 for 3. Had an infield in-base 2 RBI hit his last time up. He steps in. Freehand puts down the sign. Dobson looks in, and the windup and pitches. 4-3, ground ball to third. Wort's going to get it. Going across the diamond to Cash and retires the side. What an outing for Pat Dobson. Dobson comes in and goes 2 1/3, nothing across and a strikeout. Good job there. Sparma deserved better. 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, an earned run, a walk and a strikeout, but he will get tagged with the loss as Don McMahon gave up 5 hits, 4 runs, all earned, and definitely, as they say, pooped the bed. So we go to the bottom of the 9th inning, 6-1 Cincinnati, 6-8-0 for the Reds, 1-5-1 for the Tigers. Horton will come up, facing the righty, Northrop and K-line. Last call for the Tigers here. They are running out of outs. Bench puts down the sign. Carroll looks in. The windup to Willie Horton. And that's a strikeout for Clay Carroll, 1 away. And now here's Jimmy Northrop, 0 for 3. Bench puts down the sign. Carroll looks in, and the windup to Jim Northrop. And that's a ground ball to first. Perez got it, takes it to the bag himself, and that's 2 outs. Fans on their feet here. Tigers trying to get something going. Here's Mr. Tiger, Mr. Al Kaline, 7 of 14, 3 doubles, 2 RBIs so far in the series. So far in the early season, he has a walk today. Bench puts down the sign. Carroll looks in. Here's the windup and pitch to Kaline. And Kaline with a base hit keeps the Tigers going. So Kaline keeps his impressive early season going. Here is Don Wirt. I don't know, he's a 200. I forgot I modified these stats some. And now I'm wondering if I did that correctly. So Don Wirt will probably come out this ball game and see what the Tigers can do, who they have as a third baseman in case a miracle happens. So let's see who is. Oh, yeah, Mr. Eddie Matthews. So Mr. Eddie Matthews, now you know what? It's time for a It is time for an bat by a ringer. As a Stripes moment. We're going to bring in Mr. Gates Brown. So he has an unbelievable card against right-handed pitching. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a lot of at-bats, so I don't start him or anything, but he's going to be in there for these reasons, trying to keep the game going and see if you keep maybe put the Tigers on the board here. So Mr. Gates Brown, 370 hitter during the season. So bench puts down the sign, Carroll from the stretch, runner on first and 2 out. Pitch to Gates Brown. There's the line drive, caught by Morgan, and that will be the ball game here in Detroit. So the Reds, with a 5-run seventh inning, put this away for good. The Reds with 5 in the seventh. The line score, the Reds 6-8-0. The Tigers 1-6-1. Gullet gets the win, goes 5 innings, 1 run, 1 earned. 3 walk, 1 strikeout. Clay Carroll comes in, 2 innings of work, 1 hit. Joe Sparma takes a tough loss, 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned. Don McMahon absolutely had nothing today. Pat Dobson goes a good 2 1/3 innings. Only home run the ball game was by Dick McCullough. Doubles by Rose, Morgan, Concepcion, and Freehand. RBIs in your ball game was by bench Foster, Dreesen with 2, Geronimo had 2, and McCullough had the home run and the lone RBI. The news story for this ball game: the Cincinnati Reds offense put up 5 runs on the scoreboard in the 7th inning, had an easy way of it at Tiger Stadium, defeating the Tigers by the score of 6-1. Gullet delivered a fine performance for Cincinnati. He surrendered 5 hits and 3 walks in 7 innings. Cincinnati totaled 8 hits on the night. Joe Sparma was charged with the loss. He was stingy with the base runners, allowing just 3 hits and 1 walk in 6 innings. Unfortunately, the bullpen imploded, and that was all it took. So again, this league continues with parity, with a lot of teams at 2-2. Let's just kind of go over that real quick. We're done with this day 1 with 2 days left. And again, I'll go over the games that are still left to play. And then we'll get you out of here for tonight, folks. Have a happy Easter. As hope for those who are still have an hour and a half of time left, or those who still have a half hour like myself to Easter, and those who have to work, unfortunately. So please enjoy your day tomorrow. Let's look over the statistics. What we have so far through 4 games, the Oakland A's are 3-1. They're 1 game better than all the 2-2 teams, and the Houston Astros, who are my put up or shut up team in this league, the 2017 Astros, are 1-3 so far, and they are 2 games back. So far, the league's leaders in hitting so far, Buster Posey, who's now hurt for a couple games, is hitting .636 for the Tigers, followed by Al Kaline's hitting .533. Dick McCullough's actually hit his 2nd home run. So him, McCullough, Jackson, Lonnie Smith, and Jose Altuve with 2 so far have the lead. Runs batted in is Brandon Belt has 7 RBIs. McCullough had his 5th RBI, and Darryl Strawberry had his 5th RBI. So, folks, thank you so much. Again, let's kind of go over real quick the next week's matchups here, as we're going to go in. These are going to be your number 1 starters. So your aces will take the mound for day 2 action. Ron Guidry and Chris Sale in the Yankee Red Sox matchup. Oral Hershiser will take on Ryan Vogelsong for the Giants. That does not make sense. I'll have to look at it and see if the Giants have a 5th starter somewhere. Ken Holtzman will take on Freddie Garcia. That's the Oakland Athletics and the Chicago White Sox. Steve Carlton and Justin Verlander, the Phillies and the Astros. And be Chris Carpenter and Doc Gooden for the Cardinals and the Mets. And Gary Nolan will take on Denny McLain in a great matchup here in the Reds and the Tigers. We'll have to look over the Giants and see if I made a mistake somewhere. That probably should be. Probably should be Mad Bum or actually Tim Lincecum should come back again as number 1 for the Giants. So I'll have to look at that and make a modification change. But yep, those are your next round of games. So stay tuned for it. Might go to stay on a computer a little bit because it might be easier as a broadcast for you. So thank you, folks, for coming in. Appreciate it. Big Red Machine has their way. Thank you for coming in as a part of Sports Time Machine Stratomatic Super League of Super Teams.